Right, welcome back. So, got them both on the bench. We're going to take a look at the steering on the new ExB roller. What I've noticed is that this one sits up so much higher than my RTR one. And in jumping it, the chassis never really slapped the ground versus the RTR one, where slapping the ground seemed to be the normal when it came to the Creighton and the Outcast 8S. Because that would stabilize the RC and you wouldn't bend or break shocks because now the chassis is taking the brunt of the force. Seeing the change on this one where adding sway bars and the big shocks and it being so high now, you can clearly see that that Arrma was going for not slapping that chassis, so we're not bending it, maybe, possibly. I do know on that first run that, as you see, it's starting to buckle the body because I still didn't shoe glue it and drywall tape it. So I got a big, nasty, of course, bubble here. I mean, honestly, I was taking it easy. I wasn't really trying to wreck it bad, but that's what happens. Even small jumps, you can have bad crashes. So it does happen. But let's get into the steering. So grab a couple of them. So I'm going to bring you guys down a little closer so that we can look at the steering link and really look at this servo saver. So right here, let me grab something I can point at it with. Right here. So right here, look at that pillow ball action. Look how sloppy that is. It's not in the servo saver right there. It's not in the pillow balls on the end. I know a lot of people are saying that. There's a ton of slop right here that's creating an alignment issue. Now, my other one's been run severely hard. Look at that. It's like the ball is too small for this end. So that's where I'm seeing the big problem, is on those steering links. We're going to take a look at the factory one because I noticed there's a lot of play in the Ready to Run 2 that I never noticed really before. But I don't remember it having that much play. I remember the play being, like everybody's saying, in the pillow ball and towards the outer of the wheel. Not in this section right here. So we're going to get the other one up and we're going to take a look at the same spot on the other one. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back again. And right here you can see, here's this steering link. Now take a look at this. See how that's not moving? The pillow ball is nice and straight. This is the old steering link. There is a little slop in the servo saver, and there's definitely a little slop down there, but I don't have all that slop right there on that steering. And that's where the ExB is having a big issue. There's a design flaw in whoever designed these links. So I can't fix that pillow ball on the other one. Let me grab you guys and move you over. So I can't fix that steering link. Now, some guys were saying to take shrink tubing and take that kind of stuff and fix that. I mean, I could probably pop the ball out and shrink tube it. I'm sure I can shrink tube the whole thing and lessen up some of that. But shrink tubing is gonna eventually rip. A couple steers back and forth, one bash day, that's gonna wear. That's not normal. I don't care what anybody says. All the slop on that link is just not normal. And it's on both of them. And I just don't have it on my ready to run. I don't have that on the steering. And that's why the alignment, look at this. It keeps moving. So the links on these things are defective. It's as simple as that. So, I mean, it really needs the right, you know, the right links. It needs the right, what would those things be called? Sorry guys, I'm forgetting what, I keep wanting to call them pillow balls. I guess they are kind of like pillow balls. But the little metal inserts that go into the rod, the rod ends, I'm drawing a blank on what they're called. But those things are literally defective on these new steering links. And, you know, I don't know if they're all that way. I couldn't tell you. I can only tell you what I'm looking at on mine. And it's been this way out of the box. I saw all this flex there. And I was like, what the heck is going on? You know, it's not right. So I don't think there's a way to tighten it, because it's literally the ball where it goes into the plastic. Like, I mean, how do you fix that? I mean, the bolt is through it and the bolt is tight. I mean, it's got a nut on the backside, you know what I mean? But it's just got so much play in that system. That's like having all that play in any of this. It's a design flaw. It's as simple as that. I'd imagine there's a ton of them out there. It's not in the servo saver. It's not in the ends here. We know that the ends do have a little play, you know, but they don't have this kind of slop for a brand new. This thing's been hammered on this ready to run. And those steering links that I have on it, I haven't broke them, sad to say. I mean, I have on the rears, I've pushed them in, pushed in the threads. That's happened to me when I've hit curbs and that kind of stuff. But I haven't had this slop from the get-go. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And not only is the slop on this end, it's on the wheel side as well. You know, I don't know how to fix it. You know, my fix would be to replace it or pop out that pillow ball and try to find one that fits. You know? I mean, all the play is right there. All the slop is right here in these links. You know, I thought the bolts were coming loose. That's what I originally thought when I was wiggling it and I was looking in here. I'm going to bring you guys down again. So I kept checking in here because I thought these two bolts right here, this one and this one, that this arm was loose. But I was noticing it's this little ball that's in there. That's where the issue is. Look at that slop. I mean, I can physically see a big gap in there. And it's on both ends. And that's not going to hold steering. It's just not. You know, that slop there, you know, there's no way to get it out of there. And when the RC's down, that slop becomes more. Look at that on the steering. And so that's a problem with these brand new thick steering links. So, and most people aren't going to catch that. And that's what I keep explaining to people. The whole reason I buy these new RCs, and I'm very critical in what I say about them. If you're honestly going to redesign something, then it better be designed better. Don't just give us, you know, bigger parts and then lack somewhere else. I couldn't imagine the prototype of Horizon Hobby or you know, the CEO of Arrma looking at this thing going, and them showing these steering links and going, look how good, look how beefy these things are, they're not going to break. And you go, oh, that's great, yeah, that's what we need, that's what we need for the ExB. And then them produce this, you know, with rod ends that are sloppy. So I am going to take a video of this. You guys know the story on my original Outcast. I still haven't been covered the cost of the caps, the fluids, the diff oils, and all the stuff that I did on this RC. My local hobby shop, I used the parts I had at home, and I fixed this RC out of the box because it was leaking everywhere. I was so mad I went to return it, and they said they would fix it for me, and I'm like, look, I can fix it myself. If I'm going to keep the RC, I'd rather me wrench on it than some kid that's going to strip out some bolts, or especially inside the diff where I can't see it, and they strip or break something. And you know, it doesn't take much on a new RC to strip a bolt, and then I'm going to be dealing with that over time later on when it falls apart. So I was like, look, you know, just cover the cost of, you know, the caps that are bad. There was 2 bad caps, shock fluid and diff fluid, and whatever's wrong in the diff. It was just, they weren't sealed up right. The shocks, you saw them. Half of the shocks, 2 of them were cracked, and 2 of them, the cups were inside, and they were all half filled because it had leaked out in the airplane or in the box when it was sitting upside down. But I ate the cost of all that. I've eaten the cost of a lot of different things and just learned to accept it over time. But this roller has got me a little upset. It's a great roller, don't get me wrong, guys. It's definitely, I love the way it handles. I think the bigger shock shafts, jumping it, I'm getting used to the kick up in the rear. I'm trying to tame it down so it's not kicking up so much in the back. And the only reason we're having the kick up is because the shock shafts, they're thick, you know. The fluid's not passing through it. So maybe thinner fluid's gonna, I think, is what I'm gonna do to get it to absorb rather than kick up the RC. I think the front is okay. I think the rear probably needs some thinner fluid. Now, thinner fluid landing, I could start slapping the chassis again. But it's all part of shock tuning. Maybe I just drill another hole in the piston on the inside and relieve some of the pressure and leave the shock fluid the way it is. I don't know, but definitely the rear, I'm trying to dial it in to where it's not kicking up the back, because over the big jumps, if it starts kicking up the rear, you know, you could be landing on the roof from, you know, 30 feet in the air, and that's definitely going to break this RC, and I don't want to see that. So, but I'm upset about this. Arrma needs to you know, they need to fix it. They need to, you know, send out a part that doesn't have all this slop in it, you know. And if it's on this one, it's got to be on the other ones. I can't see mine being the only one with the slop in these little rod ends. You know, these rod ends have got a ton of slop in there, you know. And it's not right. This RC's brand new. Literally brand new. You know, I know that my pillow ball right here is a touch loose, but I run mine loose. because I don't want any binding off jumps. And I know that this upper control arm has got some wiggle in it, which I'm fine with that too. That's not affecting my toe. None of this stuff is affecting my toe. When I have to run the RC and have to keep playing with steering trim, that means something with the toe is moving around that I can't control. It's pulling right, it's pulling left, it's pulling right, it's pulling left. The RC's never going to go straight. So yeah, jumping's fun, but I also rip it down dirt roads. And I don't want the thing drifting right, drifting left, drifting right, you know, to where I'm constantly steering the thing. It's going to wear out my steering servo, you know. Steer with the rear, that's what I'm used to. But, you know, I figured I'd make this. I saw this from day one, you know. And I know a lot of people were saying, you know, tear out the steering bell crank, that the problem's in the bell crank. It's not. It's these rod ends. I just don't know what I'm going to do about it, or if anything can be done about it. I did see Chef Beardsley has a set of steering links. I don't know if his are the same way. I don't know if he's going to notice it. I mean, he hasn't installed them yet. And as soon as he puts them in and bolts them down, you know, you can't wiggle it in your hand and try to wiggle it. I mean, I guess you can. I don't know how much slop you're going to get. But when you put wheels on the end like this, heavy like this, and there's a little slop in here, that little slop's going to turn to big slop. And that's what's going on. So I figured I'd keep you up to date on that. I am going to pop off these links. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to... I don't know what I'm going to do with them, honestly. You know, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short little video. I'm going to contact Horizon Hobby tomorrow. I'm going to email their tech department what I'm seeing and what I'm showing you guys. I have to make a little short video on my phone for it because they won't look at a YouTube video and refer to that. But, you know, I'll make a quick little email and contact them. And even with that, I don't know how much they're going to be able to help me with, you know, and if there's going to be a fix anytime soon, you know, because that's definitely going to wear tires. It's going to wear other components with this thing doing this every time you're running it. I mean, it's vibrating the whole stupid RC, you know. But, and this, if you look on Horizon's site, the ExB roller is way cheaper than the new Outcast ExB roller. Don't know why that is, but I mean, I know why it is. It's, you know, it's a money grab. You know, it's the hot new RC. I'm sure the prices were higher on the Creighton rollers, but the Creighton rollers are a lot cheaper. I think at the price point they should be at. This thing, for what it costs, you know, $700, you know, $699.99. Let's call it what it is. It's $700 plus electronics plus everything else, and then you're going to end up with bad steering from day one. So there we go, guys. Just a little update on what's going on with these two RCs. I wanted to bring in the other one just to show you the steering link, to show you even though those steering links are half the size, you know what, they don't have slop on the pillow ball ends, you know, on the shock rod ends. There's no slop like this thing's having, you know. I mean, you can't fix that slop. There's, you know, there's nothing you can do to jam something in there to take up the plastic being too bad for the metal that's there right now. And I don't know if pressing those metal balls in, it stretched the plastic out. Softer plastic will go right back into shape, because I don't know if you ever press those things into these shock rod ends. You know, I've literally had to take a hammer and beat them in, because, you know, I don't have a pair of pliers to snap them in. I tried, they just wouldn't go. So I take a socket and I knock those things in there, and they're not loose. So I don't know why they're so loose on these steering link, these rod ends. I hope I'm not calling them shock rod ends, but they're just rod ends. But there we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. If you guys got an ExB, put it up in the air. Check that for me. Look at it closely. Shine a light on it. Do you guys have slop in your steering links as well? Inner and outer. Because that's where mine has the problem. If nobody out there has the same issue, then, you know, we're good to go. These are just defective parts, and I'll call Horizon. They'll send another set out. But I don't want them to send me a set that's going to do exactly the same thing as this one. But there we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video. All right, quick little video on where the problem lies. Look at that steering link ball. Look at the inner one. Let me see if I can get down there. Notice that on day one, why my alignment was so far off. But there's your problem. It's those balls that are pressed into these brand new thick ExB shafts, steering links. They're just sloppy. They're just no good. That's not right. That's not the way it should be. All right, so just a little end of the video thoughts. The biggest problem I have with this hobby, and a lot of people say that, you know, I bash on a lot of different RCs, and, you know, I bash on Arrma, that there's really no problem. I'm just nitpicking. Whether it comes to a dragster from Traxxas or an Arrma or a Losi or anything, I mean, my thoughts are, I'm spending $800 on a roller. This R&D stuff should have been done well before I got it. I realize Arrma sends these things out to different YouTubers with a letter disclosing, you know, hey, you can't talk bad about the product. You know, just run it and show people what it's about, and just don't say anything negative. If you do, they're going to come after you. That's one thing I just didn't like. But who's the R&D? Who are the people running this thing before it gets to the public? Or is anybody running it? Are they just building it and shipping it out and fixing the problems as they come up, as people complain about them? Kind of like the ExB 6S line with the rear diff. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't work for them. The whole purpose of me doing these videos and spending all this money on every new RC that's out there, people tell me, don't buy the first run. You know what? That's not what my channel's about. My channel's about saving everybody out there from going through what I'm going through, or what I went through new in the hobby of buying an RC and having to fix it. If I can come up with a fix, then I'll just usually fix the things and keep running them. But I think it's a big issue. You know, Traxxas, everybody talks about the cost of Traxxas, but, you know, I don't see these kind of problems coming from Traxxas. But the main reason we don't see these problems is because they're not pushing themselves. They're not doing what Arrma's doing. They're not doing what Losi's doing. You know, they're not putting themselves out there, you know, and you got to shout out Arrma for that. You know, Arrma's pushing forward and popping out new products left and right because that's the demand. That's what we're asking for. But you know what? Hire an R&D department. Do this testing before it gets to the public. Now, you know, with these steering links, is it defective? Could be. It could be just mine. It's a possibility. What are my thoughts on that? On a brand new RC? I just don't think so. Is it the first run on the RCs? Yeah, I think somebody's going to see the video and they're going to make the change and they'll fix it later on, kind of like what they did with the original Creighton. They came out with the 1.5 with the added braces and a better remote, because who wants a fifth scale that's going to go far away and lose reception? Who wants a fifth scale that, you know, this kind of size, having the issues of the chassis folding on one or two jumps? I mean, Creighton didn't, you know, Arrma didn't want that. So they made changes, didn't really tell anybody about that, and then later on called it an Extreme Basher Pack. But did they pull them off the shelves? No, they didn't. I ended up buying a 1.5 version because I didn't believe it. You know, I was never sent, it should have been sent out automatically to everybody that bought the original Creighton. Should have been not a $25 charge, not anything, because the price of the 1.5 wasn't any different than the price that I paid for the original Creighton. So why am I paying $25 for an added brace? And that doesn't even account the better remote. Those are the issues that I find, and I hope this saves some people from, you know, making the decision. You know, if you don't mind the slop and you don't think the steering's going to create an issue, you don't think it's going to eat up tires, or that rod's not going to pop off that ball on some hard hits, then buy it. But for those of you that are paying attention and watching my channel, I definitely, I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not an Arrma fanboy or an Arrma Army, you know, Traxxas fanboy, a Losi, whatever. I'm just, RC is a passion of mine, and I'm going to expose the flaws that I see, and hopefully with doing that, there'll be change. I know people watch the videos. Know it gets back to Arrma. I know Arrma's paying attention out there. They're all over Facebook. They're everywhere. So I know these big companies are watching, you know, social media now, and I'm sure they're seeing some of these videos. But that's what this channel's about. It's exposing this stuff. But honestly, I mean, if this stuff is sent to me before it gets to the public, at least put together an R&D department that's going to check the stuff before it hits the public eye. Somebody at Arrma has to have one of these well before they're going to ship these things, and at least look at them. Take one out of the box, really go over it, and make sure that you're not going to have issues like this. Throw electronics in it. Go run it. Go see the issues that the consumer's going to have, because I'm having issues now. Can I fix it? Yeah, I'll buy links off the ready to run and throw them in there. But is that why I paid for an Extreme Basher at the price that I paid for it? No. That's not why. I wanted the better links, and I wanted the bigger shocks, because the cost of adding that to that didn't make sense to me. But there we go, guys. So that's what I found on the steering. For those of you that stayed to the end and watched the extended footage of my videos, thumbs up, like this video, share this video. You can tell the channel's growing. You can tell that the support is out there. I love everybody for all the views that I get on this channel. I appreciate everything, and we're going to keep exposing this stuff. I'm not going to be quieted. I'm not going to sign a disclosure letter saying I'm not going to do this stuff. I'll buy them. I'll spend my own money, and I'll give you the straight up, honest review. There we go, guys. See you on the next one.